Hey, what's up guys, it's Jsmith Gaming here. Hope you guys are having a great day. In today's video, we're going to be covering the top 10 biggest mistakes that beginners make. We have a lot of valuable information in this video of not only the mistakes that I have made in my past, but I asked around and got my clanmates' opinions on the mistakes that they made as well when they were new to the game. And this video goes along really well with my top 10 beginner tips video, and if you haven't checked that out, I highly recommend you do so. And right before we get into the main bit of the video, if you guys could, please leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Now let's go ahead and get into it. So for tip number 1, we're going to be talking about using overly expensive armies when trying to farm. So something you need to take note of is whenever you're farming, you have to realize how much your troops and really the cost of training actually is. So as you can see on this, it costs about 157,000 elixir to train my most recent army. And so whenever I'm doing a farming attack, I'm always going to make sure that I'm always trying to hit a base that has at least 157,000 elixir. So when I look at my most recent raids and see what I've attacked, as you can see, I'm at least doubling it and always breaking even on the elixir and basically the resources that I have spent. And this is going to speed up your rate of farming so much faster by just wasting less time on attacking bases that only have like 20,000 gold or 20,000 elixir. Like, it's not worth it. Just wait a little bit longer and attack bases that have better loot. Let's go ahead and get on to tip number 2. So for tip number 2, this is going to be sticking to one attack strategy the entirety that they play the game. So something that I notice with players who maybe hit the Town Hall 7 or Town Hall 8 mark is that they have been sticking to one attack strategy the entire time they've been playing the game, and such as, let's say, dragons or only using hog riders. You want to learn more than one attack strategy because when you progress to Town Hall levels, people are going to start building against one thing or the other. So let's say people at Town Hall 7 might want to make their base anti-air, so it's going to be really hard to attack with dragons, and it might be a much better choice to attack with, let's say, hog riders. And when you learn more attack strategies, I always recommend people learn at least 2 to 3, is that you're going to have a much easier time in war and actually attack to the base's weakness rather than their strength, because every base has a weakness, every base has the ability to get 3 stars. It's basically just finding the weak point and attacking and leveraging that weak point. So when you learn more, it basically just gives you more options to use. Let's go ahead and get into tip number 3. So for tip number 3 of the mistakes that beginners make, and that is joining a bad clan or a clan that really just doesn't really fit their style. And what I'm talking about is, let's say you're maybe an older gentleman and you kind of want to meet people who are around your age and play with people who kind of have a similar sense of humor, etc. You want to try to find a clan that is not only active and donates, but you want to find people who are kind of around your age group, or maybe even just people you get along with. They don't have to be in your age group, just people that you enjoy to play the game with, because finding a sense of community and playing the game with people who you enjoy to play with is so fun. And honestly, like, it's just a complete game changer. If you are like, I just don't really like my clan and they're just not active or they just never donate, it's definitely time to find a new clan. If you guys need help with finding a new clan, I'll put it in the top right. So let's go ahead and get into tip number 4. So for tip number 4, it's going to be all about rushing. And what I'm talking about rushing is when you move your base to the next Town Hall level before it is fully upgraded. And if I was to just go ahead and do a attack search, I could probably find some bases that are pretty rushed. And so as you can see, this is a base that looks like it's kind of gone through the ringer. This player has rushed pretty significantly. As you can see, this is a Town Hall 8, and if you compare it to my Town Hall 8 that is completely maxed, it is a completely different base. It is okay to rush, guys, and truly play the game to how you want, but when you get to a certain point, rushing can almost become detrimental if you rush too much. So what I'm really talking about is you want to, I would always recommend people always try to upgrade their heroes as much as they can and at least like upgrade your defenses before you move up. I understand that truly play the game to how you want, but after a certain point, if you're just placing all the buildings down and just moving up to the next town hall level without upgrading anything, it is not going to put you in a really good spot, and I truly just don't think it's the best way to play the game. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into tip number 5. For tip number 5, we're going to be talking about players not having any sort of upgrade plan whenever they move to a new town hall level. And what I'm really talking about here is whenever you move, let's say from Town Hall 3 to Town Hall 4, you want to have some sort of general idea of what you want to upgrade first, so that way you can kind of set yourself up for success when you're going to be playing at this new Town Hall level. And so let's say, for example, I always recommend players upgrade their army camps as soon as possible, because that's going to give them more troops to train and when they do their farming and war raids. But each player is going to play the game differently. I truly recommend that you guys kind of create a game plan of how you want to create the game and how you want to upgrade your base. I do have some build guides for different town hall levels that you guys can check out if you guys just want a second opinion. But truly play the game how you want. But I do recommend having some sort of idea or plan for yourself on how you want to upgrade your current town hall. So for tip number 6, it's going to be about building your base on the corner of the map and not expecting people to use it. This is something that I definitely tried out when I was new to the game, because honestly, I thought people couldn't put troops on the outside of the outskirts of the map. And as you can see here, just so you guys still have to try it yourself, I went ahead and did it for you. As you can see, I'm getting crushed right now. It's going to be a 3-star, and it's just something that I've noticed that I definitely tried as a beginner, and I recommend that you guys don't try this because it just doesn't work. So for tip number 7, we're going to be talking about not spreading out valuable buildings across your base. So as you can see here, something that I noticed among players who are newer to the game is that they will place a big compartment like this with just all their defenses in it, and then maybe another one with all their resources in it. You want to spread these buildings out across the base, so that way if an attacker gets into one compartment, they don't have access to everything that you really care about, as well as you don't want them to get into that one compartment with all the defenses, because that just makes it way too easy to attack. And as you can see here in this base, for example, the defenses and the storages are spread out, so not only is it better for protecting resources, but it's also better for just defending attacks in general. Let's go ahead and get into the next tip. So for tip number 8, we're going to be talking about holding onto a base that doesn't work for too long. And what I'm talking about here is that after a while, bases do just stop working, it seems like. Some bases do age indefinitely and they are just so good over time, but what I've come to realize is that sometimes you just have to get rid of a base as the meta changes. And so as an example, I'll start with war. So if you feel like your base is constantly getting 3-starred by attackers that maybe their attack really isn't that good, and you just feel like, wow, that was a really sloppy attack, and that's a cautionary sign right there. But if you feel like your base is getting 3-starred consistently by bad attacks and stuff that you really feel like you should be defending, it may be time to scrap it and start a new base. And when it comes to farming, it may be time to switch up the base if you feel like all the resources that you're trying to protect are consistently getting stolen, even though you're trying everything you can to protect them. I'd recommend going on Google, YouTube, Reddit, or something to try and find a new base. There's plenty of resources on trying to find new bases, but don't be emotionally attached to your bases, guys. Sometimes your bases do just get crushed, but if it happens consistently and even against bad attackers, it may be time for a change. So for tip number 9, we're going to be talking about spending all your gems too fast without buying builder huts. And what I'm really talking about here, guys, is that in the beginning of the game, Clash of Clans really encourage you to basically spend gems to either train your troops or even just increase the building times and basically complete buildings fast. And so you want to save up as many gems as possible to buy these builder huts. Yes, it is very possible and relatively easy to do so if you are patient. You can do that through doing community events. In these events, there's sometimes challenges where you can earn gems. doing the clan war leagues, or even just doing the challenges on your profile are all great ways to get gems, as well as clearing these structures such as the bushes and stuff on this island and on the builder base island, which you unlock as you progress through the game. So save your gems, guys. Only use them when necessary. Get at least 5 builders first before you start spending all of them. It's not that hard to do so. Just be patient and do the challenges and you'll get them in no time. For tip number 10, it is going to be taking the game too seriously. And what I'm talking about here, guys, is when I first started the game, I took the game a little bit too seriously. I was always trying to win every single raid that I did, and I was always so unsatisfied with where I currently was. And what I'm really talking about here is this is just a game. Please play it to your own enjoyment. If you want to rush, by all means do it. If you want to just do troll attacks and just do all wall breakers, do it. Play the game how you want. The games are made for our enjoyment as the player. And ultimately, guys, I know it can be frustrating, especially in war, if you get a 99% or you just have a really bad attack. It is okay. Things happen and you'll always have the next raid to go to. So if you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments your favorite tip that I gave you guys. I might be making a part 2 to this. And if you guys haven't already, check out the next beginner tips video. I'll leave it in the end screen.